Hello and welcome to the next session of Cell, the Unit of Life. In this session, we are going to continue with the later parts, the next parts of the cell organelles, as we have already came across the endomembrane systems, 4 endomembrane systems. After completion of those 4 endomembrane systems, the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, then lysosomes and the vacuole. The next major part that we are going to discuss in this class is the part of mitochondria. Then later on we will see one more cell organelle where we come across plastid, and mainly we are focusing on the chloroplast. So these are the two major cell organelles that are present in one in plant. So mitochondria in both plant and animal cell, and chloroplast only in the plant cells, as well as one more organism called as euglenoids. Now let's go to the heading called as mitochondria. Mitochondria is a plural term. Its singular term is a mitochondrion. Now generally this mitochondria, they are present in the cell, and what is their major function? They are the actual sites of aerobic respiration. Aerobic means oxygen is utilized. Now what exactly is mitochondria? How exactly is mitochondria and how exactly it functions? So that is the most important criteria for the mitochondria. Now regarding the part of the mitochondria, mitochondria is the site of aerobic respiration. Yak aerobic respiration and karidivi antandra, this mitochondria will utilize oxygen, and later on it will produce the energy in the form of ATP. Now look at this. Now we are respiring, now oxygen tolakativi, namak gottiruvanta prakara oxygen will enter into the lungs. Lungs is the blood kodada, blood is the body ತುಂಬ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತದ. ಇಷ್ಟು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಸು. ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥ ಸೆಲ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಲೆ ಯಾವುದು? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮೈಟೋಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೈಟೋಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ ವಿಲ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ದ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ so that it can produce the energy. So that's why the cellular oxygen is utilized by this mitochondria. So finally the oxygen which you are respiring is used by mitochondria. Idu nenpirli yarig beku? Cells ge beku. Cells ogade yarig beku? Mitochondria ge beku to produce the energy. Now what we say is, we have the brief account of the mitochondria. Now generally for the mitochondria, as they produce energy in the cells, because of these they are the power stars of the cell, where we also call them as the powerhouse of the cell, because they produce the energy. They are also called as energy currency of the cell. Okay, so ಜೀವಕೋಶದ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನಾ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಅಂತಲೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಇವಕ್ಕೆ. Okay, now regarding the part of the mitochondria, we have the diagrammatic representation. Later on we will go with all the characters. Okay, now in the diagrammatic representation of the mitochondria, we can go with the 3-dimensional diagram also. So this is the structure of the mitochondria, which is present in the form of a sausage. Okay, now when we look at the structure of the mitochondria, mitochondria is having 2 layers. So it is having 2 layers. One, we have the outer layer, then we have the inner layer. The inner layer is thrown into foldings. This is called as a cristae. Singular is a crista, plural is cristae. The inner membrane is thrown into foldings. Inner membrane folding agirtada. For the diagrammatic representation, you can just refer your NCERT also, and you can draw the diagram for it. Okay. Then inside this we have the matrix consisting of certain enzymes. Okay, so if we look at the structure of the mitochondria, what is its shape? So first I will tell you the characters, then we will write down the characters. The mitochondria is a sausage shaped. Sausage antadra ee cha kudiyu basi irtadala, kappa basi anta ಏನು ಕರೀತೀರಿ, ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬಸಿ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಇರ್ತದ. It is a sausage shaped. It might be cylindrical also. Cylindrical ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಆ ರೀತಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ತೋರ್ಸಕತ್ತೀವಿ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಯು ದ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಹಿಯರ್. It might be cylindrical also. Then what will be its size? Other size ಎಷ್ಟು? The size might be, so in terms of its width, it might be around 0.4 micrometer to 1 micrometer in its diameter. So diameter ಎಷ್ಟು ಇರಬಹುದು? Around 0.4 to 1 micrometer in diameter. And the length might be around 1 micrometer to 4.1 micrometer in its length. So idu idar size aitu. So the diameter might be around 0.4 micrometer to 1 micrometer in its diameter, and length it varies around 1 micrometer to 4.1 micrometer, right? So this is regarding the part. Then what does the mitochondria consist of? Mitochondria is made up of two layers. One is the outer layer, second one is the inner layer. One ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎರಡು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. So it is made up of two layers. The inner layer is thrown into foldings, and these foldings are called as a cristae. So singular is crista ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So they are thrown into foldings, inside which it consists of a fluid filled matrix that contains enzymes for what? The process of respiration. So respiratory enzymes are present in the matrix of a mitochondria, right? Then apart from these, now the energy is produced in the matrix of mitochondria. So almost the energy in the form of ATP is produced in the matrix of mitochondria, and hence the mitochondria is said to be powerhouse of the cell. Then apart from this, the mitochondria have circular DNA. So circular DNA is there. As a result, they divide automatically. These are the cell organelles where they divide automatically. Tama divide agtav by the process of fission. So let's call it as a binary fission. By the process of binary fission, the mitochondria will divide by itself. Apart from this, this also has ribosomes, but the ribosomes which are present in the mitochondria are of 70s. The ribosomes which are present in the mitochondria are of 70s, while the cytoplasmic ribosomes are of 80s. Remember this. This is a eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cell ಒಳಗಡೆ ribosomes 80s ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅವು cytoplasmic ribosomes. ಇದು ನೀಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. prokaryote ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ribosomes 70s ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. Where are 70s ribosomes present in eukaryotic cell ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ನೆನಪಿರಲಿ, first one is mitochondria, second one is ribosomes. Second one is chloroplast. So mitochondria and chloroplast are the cell organelles in the eukaryotic organisms where they have 70s ribosomes. Nenepirali 70s ribosomes are present only in these two cell organelles, yavu mitochondria and chloroplast, right? So note it somewhere. This is an objective question also, right? Then apart from this, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, the ribosomes which are present in this cell organelle ಇವತ್ರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥ 70s ಅಂತದ. ಸೈಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸಮ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇರ್ತತಿ, ಸೈಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸಮ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು 80s ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತದ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ what is that adu nam next part nage discussion ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು about the ribosomes. But just simply remember what S stands for the unit of measurement of ribosomes, where we also call it as a Swedberg units ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Okay, so this is regarding the characteristic feature of the mitochondria. So with these we'll move on to the detailed account as well as the characters of the mitochondria. And regarding the part of the characters, so I'll just give you the characters. You can just pause the video, note down all the characters, but remember all the characters are based on the diagrammatic representation. Characters ಎಲ್ಲ diagram ಮೇಲನ represent ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ, ಏಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ process ಆಗೋದು mitochondria ಒಳಗಡೆ. Okay, so that's why it is a site of aerobic respiration. Do not forget this point. ನೀವು ಉಸಿರಾಡಕತ್ತೀರಿ, ಈ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಯಾರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? It is the mitochondria, and they produce the energy in the form of ATP, and hence called as powerhouse of the cell. So let's look at the characters of the mitochondria. Okay, now look at the characters of mitochondria. Here we have the list of characters. Now look at the first point. The number of mitochondria per cell is variable depending on the physiological activity of the cell. So one cell may consist of only few mitochondria, and other cell may consist of many mitochondria. So one cell ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇಷ್ಟ mitochondria ಅಂತಂದು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸೆಲ್ ಫಿಸಿಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೆಲ್ ಯಾವ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ, ಯುಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, then it is a sausage shaped. Sausage, as I have told you, it's a cup shaped. Okay, so cup ಬಸಿ ಏನು ಇರ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ ಆ ಶೇಪ್ಡ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. Sausage shaped, or it might be cylindrical in shape. So cylindrical ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಓಕೆ, ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಹೋಲು ಅಂತದ. So sausage shaped or cylindrical shaped, having a diameter of 0.2 to 1 micrometer in its length, and 1.0 to 4.1 micrometer. So this is diameter is 0.2 to 1.0 and length is 1 to 4.1 micrometer. Then it consists of two membranes, as you have already saw it in the diagram. Look at the diagram. It has an outer membrane and inner membrane. ಎರಡು membranes ಇರುವಂತವು. Next one, the inner compartment is filled with the matrix. That means the inner membrane, it consists of a matrix, fluid filled matrix that contains enzymes also. Then the inner membrane is thrown into foldings called as cristae. So inner membrane wave galte irtava, so they are thrown into folding. Adu folding. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ intestine, though the length is more 22 feet idru kuda, but stomach below ಅದು ಹೆಂಗೆ accumulate ಆಗೈತೆ abdominal region ಒಳಗಡೆ foldings ಆಗಿದಾವೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ the inner membrane is thrown into foldings which is called as cristae. Singular is crista, Innova crista alla. Okay, then the two membrane have their own specific enzymes. ಎರಡು membrane ಒಳಗಡೆ specific enzymes ಇರ್ತಾವು which helps in aerobic respiration. Then what are these enzymes present? That you are going to study it in the aerobic respiration. ಆ chapter detail ಬರ್ತದ. So after photosynthesis chapter we have the aerobic respiration. Okay, in plants ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು detail ಆಗಿ ಕಲಿತೀವಿ. So two membranes have their specific enzymes for aerobic respiration. Okay, then look at the next character. Mitochondria are the site of aerobic respiration because they utilize oxygen. They use oxygen to produce the energy. That's why they are the site of aerobic respiration. Which are the sites of aerobic respiration? Mitochondria. Objective question, 1 mark level. Next, they produce cellular energy. Cellular energy ಅಂದರೆ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ತಯಾರಾಗಬೇಕು. ಹೌ ಡು ಗೆಟ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ? ನಮಗೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸಿಗ್ತದ? ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಿಂದ ಸಿಗ್ತದ. ಮೈಟೊಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತೆ? ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸಿಂದ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತೆ. ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸಿಗ್ತೈತಿ? ವಿ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ದ ಫುಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎನರ್ಜೆಟಿಕ್ ಥ್ರೂ ದ ಫುಡ್. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಅದ, ಊಟ ಬಲ್ಲವನಿಗೆ ರೋಗವಿಲ್ಲ. ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಡೈಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕಾವು ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ವಿದೌಟ್ ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ವಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಸರ್ವೈವ್. ಅದು ಬೇಕೇ ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ATP ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಲೈಕೋಲೈಸಿಸ್. ಈಗ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಬೇಡ, ಅದು ಸೆಲ್ಯುಲರ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಡಿಟೇಲಾಗಿ ಕಲಿತೀರಿ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ಯುಲರ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ATP and hence they are called as a what? Powerhouse of the cell. The matrix also possesses single circular DNA. Matrix ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನದ? Look at this part. ನಮ್ಮ matrix ಒಳಗಡೆ, matrix ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? Inner membrane ಒಳಗಡೆ fluid ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು, that is called as matrix. That consists of what? Single circular DNA. It is having its independent DNA. ಅದರದಾದಂಥ DNA ಅದ, ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಮೈಟೋಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ದನ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮೈಟೋಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾವೆ. ದೆನ್ ಫ್ಯೂ RNA ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು RNA ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅದಾವೆ. DNA ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅದ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್, ಒಂದು ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ DNA ಅಂತದ. ಫ್ಯೂ RNA ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್, RNA ರೈಬೋನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, DNA ಡಿಆಕ್ಸಿ ರೈಬೋನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಸಿಡ್. Then ribosomes of 70S. Remember, so apart from nucleus, where do you find DNA? Nucleus bit DNA ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆಲ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಲೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ನೆನಪಿರಲಿ, ಒಂದು ಮೈಟೋಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್. ಎರಡು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ DNA ಅದ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ DNA, they will divide automatically. So they will divide by the process of fission. So we can say it as a binary fission. Right. So this is regarding the characteristics of the cell organelle mitochondria, and this mitochondria can be asked for a 5-mark level question. It's a big question, 5-mark level. You have to draw the diagram and you have to write these characters. Okay. So this is regarding the part of mitochondria, and the next part, next cell organelle which we are going to discuss is regarding the plastids, and their major part is the chloroplast. Right. So what are plastids and what are the types of the plastids? So let's see them in detail. Apart from this, now regarding the part of the next cell organelle, where we call it as a plastids. Plastids are of 3 types depending on the pigment present in them. That's why the plastids are divided into 3 types. Out of those 3 types, the first one is a chloroplast, second one is a chromoplast, and third one is a leukoplast. So these are the 3 different types of plastids, which are the cell organelles that we observe only in plants. So that's why plastids are the cell organelles which are present in the plants. So we don't find this such type of plastids in any other cell organelle. So we have the next heading. Next heading is plastids. Okay, so this is the next heading. Now plastids are the cell organelle which is found in plants and euglenoids. Euglenadagu plastids andre chloroplast irtada. Already you have studied about the euglena in the kingdom Protista. Okay, so what are plastids? So plastids are the cell organelles which are present in plant and euglenoids. So it is also present in plants as well as euglenoids. So it is found in all plants and euglenoids. So it is found in all plants and euglenoids, like euglena. Euglena iruvantada. Euglena possesses 2 characters. It acts like a plant, it acts like a animal. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಅಂತಲೂ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಡೇ ಟೈಮ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥೆಸಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ. ನೈಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ನಾಗ ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್ ಇರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಹಾರ ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀರು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಹೊರಗಿನ ಆಹಾರ ತೊಗೊಳ್ತದ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಇದು ಅನಿಮಲ್ಗಲ್ತನೂ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತದ, ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಗಲ್ತನೂ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತದ. That's why ಈ ಡ್ಯುವಲ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ euglena they are commonly called as a plant animal. Okay. Then apart from these, if we go to the part of plastids, plastids are of 3 types. Plastids are of 3 types, namely chloroplast, chromoplast, and leukoplasts. So these are the 3 different types of plastids. So plastids are divided into three types: chloroplast, chromoplast, leukoplast. Chloro meaning chlorophyll bearing, which is green in color. Chromosomes, varna tantugalu anta ಏನು ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ವರ್ಣ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು, ಬಣ್ಣ, ಕಲರ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಡ್ಸ್. ಲ್ಯೂಕೋ, WBCಗೆ ನಾವು ಲ್ಯೂಕೋಸೈಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವು ಕಲರ್ ಇರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಲರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಡ್ಸ್. ಲುಕ್ ಎಟ್ ದ ನೇಮ್. ಕ್ಲೋರೋಫಿಲ್ ಬಿಯರಿಂಗ್, green in color. Chromo, color bearing, having colors. Then leuco, no color at all, right? So these are the three different types of plastids. So out of that, if we look at the first one, chloroplast. First let's see the short introductory part of the chloroplast, then we will look at the detailed account of diagram of the chloroplast, because we are discussing detailed account of the chloroplast. First gather introductory nodonu, we will finish off the rest too, then we will look at the diagram and the characters of the chloroplast, right? So regarding the part of the chloroplast, when we come across the chloroplast, they contain chlorophyll and carotenoid. They contain chlorophyll and carotenoids. Carotenoids, they give color. Chlorophyll, it is green in color, which helps in trapping the sun energy and converts it into food. So solar energy is converted into the chemical energy, which is nothing but it is a food particle only. Okay, so chloroplast, they contain chlorophyll as well as a carotenoid pigments, which helps in photosynthesis. Okay, so they help in photosynthesis. Then apart from this, second is the chromoplast. Now as the name says, chromoplast, chromo antandra colored, they have color. What is this color? So chromoplasts are nothing but they are the colored plastids. So that's why what we say for this is they are fat soluble carotene pigments. So these chromoplasts, as they are the colored plastids, they have fat soluble pigments, and those pigments, they are nothing but they are carotene and xanthophyll. So fat soluble carotenoid pigments like carotenes, and one more is there which is called as xanthophylls. So carotene is present, and xanthophyll. Okay, so because of that they give the color. Udrinda oka color bardate. So yav color bardate? So these gives the part of the plant. So they give the part of the plant. So different colors are exhibited by this. So they give the part of the color, part of the plant, as which colors? As yellow, orange or red. Okay, so look at these colors. So they give all these colors to the part of the plant. So either it might be an yellow color, orange color or red color. So this is regarding the part of the second one, the chromoplast. Then apart from the chromoplast, the third one what we have here is the third one is a leukoplast. So leukoplast, these are colorless plastids. So leukoplast, they are the colorless plastids. That means which do not bear any color. So leukoplast, these are colorless plastids. Okay, so write that statement. They are colorless plastids. What is their function? They are meant for storage of substances. So here meant for storage. Now, based on this storage process, they are of three types. There are three types of leukoplast. Out of these, the first one is amyloplast, second one is alleroplast, third one is Leukoplast. Now, what do you mean by amyloplast? Amyloplast, they store carbohydrates. So, they store carbohydrates. They store carbohydrates or starch, like in case of potato. Potato has a starch. That starch is nothing but it is a carbohydrate. Adu carbohydrate ada. Potato olagade iruvantadu starch adu. Starch is a carbohydrate. Carbohydrate andre glucose, made up of glucose only. Okay. So this is first one, amyloplast. Then second one is alleroplast. Second is alleroplast. Alleroplast, alleron andre protein. They store proteins. So they store proteins. So alleroplast, they store proteins. Then the last one, third one, ಈ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಳು ಒಳಗಡೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಳೆ ಕಾಳು ಅಂತ ಏನು ಬರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಳು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಈ ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವೆ. ಸಚ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ಸೆಲ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ alleroplast. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ Leukoplast. Leukoplast, they store oils and fats. So oils and fats store ಮಾಡುವಂಥ cells ಅವು Leukoplast, oil storing cells. Okay, like that of eucalyptus. Eucalyptus ಅಂದರೆ ನೀಲಗಿರಿ ಗಿಡದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ನೀಲಗಿರಿ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಅಂತ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ, ಔಡಲ್ ಗಿಡದಾಗ ಔಡಲ್ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಅಂತ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಹಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ತೆಂಗಿನ ಮರದಿಂದ ತೆಂಗಿನ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಅಂತ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸನ್ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಆಯಿಲ್, ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ನಟ್ ಆಯಿಲ್. ಆ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಹೆಸರು ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? Leukoplast. ಸೊ ದೇ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ as well as the fats. So these are the three different types of leukoplast. ಇವು leukoplast ದ 3 types ಆಯಿತು. Okay, remember plastids are of 3 types: chloroplast, chromaplast and leukoplast. Leukoplast are of 3 types which are meant for storage of substances in the plants, especially amyloplast. Salivary amylase ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಕಾರ್ಬೋಹೈಡ್ರೇಟ್ ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಂಜೈಮ್. ಅಮೈಲೋ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಹೆಸರು ಮೇಲೆ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಡಿ. ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೈಲೋ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾವು, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಕಾರ್ಬೋಹೈಡ್ರೇಟ್. So amyloplast store carbohydrates. Alleron ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ it is protein, it stores protein. And Leukoplast, they store oils as well as fats. Okay, so this is regarding the introductory part of the plastids, and we are looking at the major part of these plastids, and the major part of the plastid is chloroplast. Chloroplast diagram bardada, adar explanation ant bardada. So this is again a 5 mark level question. Okay, regarding the part of the chloroplast. So let's look at the part of the chloroplast under the heading plastids. So still we are in the plastids, and we look at the detailed account of the chloroplast. Now chloroplast is exactly more or less similar to that of the mitochondria. Mitochondria ನಾವು ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, because this chloroplast it is also a double membrane structure. ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಎರಡು ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ, and those membranes we call them as an outer membrane as well as a inner membrane. Okay, so there is a 3-dimensional diagram which is given in your NCERT. You can just go through that diagram also. Okay, so let's look at the structure of the chloroplast. So structure of chloroplast. Chloroplast is a double membrane structure. ಎರಡು membrane ಇರ್ತಾವು, where it consists of an outer membrane and the inner membrane. It is also a double membrane structure. I am just drawing a 2D diagram. The 3D diagram is given in your NCERT. Okay, now this chloroplast it consists of a set of pile of coin like structures. These are called as a grana. Entire part ಗೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ grana ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, and a single piece is called as a thylakoid. Okay, so this is the part of the chloroplast having, this is an outer membrane, this is an inner membrane, this entire part is called as ಗ್ರಾನಮ್. ಇದು ಸಿಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್, ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾನಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇದೊಂದು ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಇದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರಾನ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಗ್ರಾನ. ಗ್ರಹಣ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಗ್ರಹಣ ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಗ್ರಾನ, ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್. ಇವು ಎಲ್ಲತ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಈಚ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಎ ಕಾಯಿನ್. ಈಗ ₹1 ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಒಂದು 10 ತೊಗೊಳ್ರಿ, ಒಂದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಹಚ್ಚಿಡ್ರಿ, ಅದು ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸೆಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಗ್ರಾನ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇದ್ರಾಗ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಕಾಯಿನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ that single coin represents what? Single coin represents thylakoid. So this single part it represents thylakoid. Okay, then here we have the structures. This structure is called as a stromal lamellae, and this part is stroma. Okay, so this is stroma. This is the structure of the chloroplast. Okay, it is a 2D diagram, 2-dimensional view. The 3D diagram is given in your NCERT. You can follow that diagram also. Okay, now here it is an outer membrane, inner membrane. That's why chloroplasts are similar to that of what? Mitochondria. So it is having an outer membrane, inner membrane. Then inside this part illen ಒಳಗಡೆ cavity ಕಾಣಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ, it is filled with a fluid. ಖಾಲಿ empty space ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, fluids ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. That fluid is nothing but it is the stromal fluid. That region is called a stroma. Inside the stroma, a set of coin, a pile of coin like structures, granum is present or grana are present. Each part of the grana is called as a thylakoid. ಈ thylakoid ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಕಾಯಿನ್ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ದ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, it is called as lumen. The thylakoid contains the lumen, right? Now what is the function of this and what is the size of this? The size also varies, and the number of chloroplast might be 1 like in Chlamydomonas, an algae ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು Chlamydomonas algae ಅಂತದ, ಅದರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದೇ ಇರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 20, ಒಂದು 20 ಅಥವಾ 20ರಿಂದ 40 ತನಕನೂ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದೇ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟು ಇರಬಹುದು, ಆಸ್ ಇನ್ Chlamydomonas, or there might be plenty of chloroplast which is present in each cell. ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇರಬಹುದು. What is the major function of the chloroplast? The major function of the chloroplast is photosynthesis. Okay, so photosynthesis, they trap the sunlight and they produce the energy. So they mainly produce food, glucose produce ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾವ, then which is finally stored in the form of a starch or any other substances, right? So this is the major area. They contain enzymes. ಈ thylakoid membranes ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ enzymes ಇರ್ತಾವ, and on the thylakoid membrane ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು compounds, they have the chlorophyll pigment also, and this chlorophyll pigment, how it absorbs the light energy, how it produces the energy, the detailed account is there in the chapter photosynthesis. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ವಾಪಸ್ ಇರಕ ಸೇಮ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ, ಬಟ್ ಇದರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ದೂರ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ನೋಡಕತ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಅವಾಗಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಅದಾವು ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಂತು ನೋಡಕ್ರಿ ಏನೇನು ಅದಾವು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎನ್ಸೈಮ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಅದಾವು, ಕ್ಲೋರೋಫಿಲ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅದ, ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಇರ್ತಾವ ಅಂತನೂ ಅಂತದ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಟೇಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ of the part of photosynthesis. Okay, it is a major site of photosynthesis. Then exactly similar to that of mitochondria, it is also having circular DNA. ಇದಕ್ಕೂ circular DNA ಅಂತಂದ. Then RNA ribosomes are also present. 70s ribosomes ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಇರ್ತಾವ, as already we have discussed. And one more thing here is, as it is having its own DNA, ಅದರದಾದಂಥ DNA ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ it also replicates. ಇವತ್ತರ ನಂಬರು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಆಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾವ. Okay, so they also divide. Right. So these are the basic characteristics of the structure of the chloroplast, and we will go to the list characters of the chloroplast, and just I will give you the characters and note down them. Let's look at the characters here, the characters of the chloroplast. Now look at the characters, whatever we have discussed we have written here. They are found in mesophyll region of the leaves. Leaves upper epidermis, lower epidermis ಮಧ್ಯೆ mesophyll region ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅದು ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಕಾಣಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣನ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಬಂಡೆಂಟ್, ದೇ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮೆಸೋಫಿಲ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್? ದೇರ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇಪ್. ಒಂದು ಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇಪರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಓವಲ್, ಎಗ್ ಶೇಪ್ಡ್, ಸ್ಪೆರಿಕಲ್, ರೌಂಡೆಡ್, ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಶೇಪ್ಡ್, ಡಿಸ್ಕಾಯ್ಡಲ್, ಆರ್ ಇವನ್ ಲಾಂಗ್, ರಿಬ್ಬನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್. ದೆನ್ ದ ಲೆಂತ್ ಈಸ್ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್, 5 to 10 ಮೈಕ್ರೋಮೀಟರ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ವೈಸ್ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿಡ್ತ್ ಥಿಕ್ನೆಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಂದರೆ 2 to 4 ಮೈಕ್ರೋಮೀಟರ್. ದೇರ್ ನಂಬರ್ ವೇರ್ ಇಸ್ 1 per ಸೆಲ್. ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲಾಮಿಡೋಮೋನಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಆನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಈ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಹೇಳಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತು ಬರೀ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ನಂಬರ್, ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಮಿಡೋಮೋನಸ್, ಆರ್ ದೇರ್ ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ಲೆಂಟಿ ಲೈಕ್ 20 to 40 per ಸೆಲ್. ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ 20 to 40 ಇರ್ತಾವ. ದೆನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮೈಟೋಕಾಂಡ್ರಿಯಾ, ಕ್ಲೋರೋಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಡಬಲ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್, ಔಟರ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್, ದಿಸ್ ವಿ ನೋ. ದೆನ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದೇ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಎ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟ್ರೋಮಾ. ನಾವು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ದಾಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಲುಕ್ ದ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲುಕ್ ಎಟ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ದೆನ್ many flattened membrane sacs called thylakoids. Flat thylakoid ಅಥವಾ coin like thylakoids ಇರ್ತಾವ, where they are present in the stroma. Then thylakoids are arranged in a stack. Stack ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಪೈಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಯಿನ್ಸ್. ಕಾಯಿನ್ಸ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ₹1 10 ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಆ ರೀತಿ ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಗ್ರಾನಾ. ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಗ್ರಾನಮ್, ಗ್ರಾನಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಿಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್, ಗ್ರಾನಾ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ಲೂರಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಗ್ರಾನಾ ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ the next one, stromal lamellae connects thylakoid of different grana. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಗ್ರಾನ ಎರಡೂದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಏನದ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರೋಮಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಮೆಲ್ಲೆ ಅದ, ಅದು ಎರಡೂದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ, ಇಂಟರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತದೆ. ದ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಆಫ್ ಥೈಲಾಕೋಡ್ ಎನ್ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಎ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಲೂಮೆನ್. ಒಂದು ಕಾಯಿನ್, ಒಂದು ಥೈಲಾಕೋಡ ಸೆಂಟರ್ದಾಗ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ತೆಗ್ ಬಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿಗೆ ಲೂಮೆನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಲೂಮೆನ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರೋಮಾ ಕಂಟೈನ್ಸ್ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟ್ರೋಮಾ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವು that are required for synthesis of carbohydrates. ಅಂದರೆ ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥೆಸಿಸ್ದಿಂದ ತಯಾರಾಗುವಂಥದ್ದು carbohydrates. Along with that, even the proteins are also produced, okay, on the ribosomes. So that is the major site. So enzyme ಇರುವಂಥ site stroma. It also contains small double stranded circular DNA. Look at this, it is having an independent DNA, ಅದರದಾದಂಥ DNA ಅದ, along with that ribosomes. Okay, ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಇದು ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Chlorophyll pigments are present in the thylakoids. Thylakoid ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ chlorophyll, green color pigments ಇರ್ತಾವೆ, which helps in photosynthesis. Then ribosomes of chloroplast. Chloroplast na iruvanta ribosomes ಎಷ್ಟು? They are of 70s. ಅದರ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸೈಟೋಪ್ಲಾಸಮ್ದಾಗ ಇರುವಂಥದ ribosomes ಎಷ್ಟು? They are 80s. That's why the cytoplasmic ribosomes are of 80s. ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಅವು ಯಾವುವು ಅಂತನ್ನುವಂಥದ the next cell organelle that we are going to discuss is of ribosomes only. So there we will see, right? So this is regarding the major characteristic features of the structure of the chloroplast, which will be asked for a 5-mark level question, right? So pause the video and write down the characters, and we'll come with the rest of the cell organelles in the next class. Thank you.